There is a moment, quiet, unmistakable, and sharp as a blade, when a woman finally realizes she lost the Stoic man. And it never happens in the heat of an argument. It never happens when pride is loud or emotions are high. It doesn't happen during the breakup or the day she walks away with confidence she didn't earn. No. It happens later, in the silence, in the emptiness, in the echo of everything she took for granted. Because a Stoic man is not understood while he is present. He is understood when he is gone. And today, we're going to walk through the psychology, the silence, the comparison, the regret, and the transformation behind the moment she realizes she lost a Stoic man. Before we continue, anchor this message into your identity. Comment below. My silence is my power. Now, let's begin. It always begins the same way. At first, she believes she made the right choice. She convinces herself she's free, that she's finally moving forward, that she'll find better, whatever that even means. She distracts herself. She stays busy. She posts more. She laughs louder. She becomes everything except honest with herself. But distractions fade. Noise gets old. And the truth always returns. And the truth is simple. She expected you to come back. She expected you to apologize. She expected you to crack. She expected you to chase. Because that's what most men do. But you stepped back with calm certainty. You didn't break. You didn't beg. You didn't try to prove your worth. You simply let go. And that's when something shifts in her mind. The first small, subtle whisper of regret. Because a Stoic man's silence is not empty. It has weight. It has meaning. It has consequence. And though she doesn't admit it yet, she feels that consequence immediately. Your absence hits differently. It doesn't scream. It doesn't plead. It doesn't demand attention. It simply creates a space that other men cannot fill. The beginning of her regret doesn't feel like regret. It feels like confusion, a strange uneasiness, a shift in her emotional gravity. Because after she walks away, or after she pushes you away, she feels a temporary rush of freedom. She tells herself she's doing the right thing. She convinces her mind with rehearsed reasons that never quite reach her heart. She distracts herself with noise, new conversations, new attention, new routines, new patterns. But no distraction can replace presence. Silence is a language. Most people don't understand it, but a Stoic man masters it. Because you aren't silent out of anger. You aren't silent to punish. You aren't silent to manipulate. Your silence is discipline. It is clarity. It is self-respect in its purest form. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." So when she expected arguments, you gave her peace. When she expected chaos, you gave her stability. When she expected drama, you gave her distance. And that distance begins to do something she didn't expect. It forces her to reflect. Suddenly she notices the missing good morning text, the missing emotional anchor, the missing calm that used to regulate her storms. She opens her phone. Your name isn't there. She checks your social media. You're not sad. You're not posting quotes. You're not seeking validation. You're disciplined. You're focused. You're growing. This is the moment she begins to understand. Your silence is not absence. It is evolution, and evolution is louder than any words you could ever speak. Silence is not passive. It is not absence. It is not emptiness. Silence is presence. The kind of presence felt without sound, without messages, without reminders. And your silence becomes the loudest chapter in her memory. She scrolls through her phone and feels something she didn't expect. the weight of what is missing, not your attention, but your energy, your stability, your steadiness. The silence reminds her that you were the one who always stayed calm when she spiraled. You were the one who held emotional structure when she fell apart. You were the one who didn't escalate arguments, didn't seek validation, didn't react impulsively. Instead of chaos, you offered clarity. Instead of panic, you offered patience. Instead of noise, you offered grounded presence. Your silence now highlights that difference. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned from the many sufferings of life." You learned the lesson, you applied it, and now your silence teaches her. It teaches her what you tolerated quietly. It teaches her what she underestimated. It teaches her what she lost. This is where regret sharpens, not immediately, but inevitably. Because after you, she meets other men. She talks to men who sound confident until they're challenged, men who act strong until they're questioned, men who seem exciting until real life begins. And slowly, painfully, piece by piece, she realizes something she never saw before. You weren't boring. You were stable. You weren't predictable. You were consistent. You weren't too calm. You were emotionally mature. The new men, they fold under pressure. They get jealous easily. They need constant validation. They communicate like boys, not men. They confuse chaos for passion and insecurity for love. And without meaning to, her mind keeps returning to you, to your patience, to your discipline, to your emotional control, to the silence you carried without fear. 'Cause every argument with someone new reminds her of your steadiness. Every disappointment reminds her of your reliability. Every emotional spiral reminds her of your grounding presence. This is when she begins comparing. Not because she wants to, but because she can't help it. The contrast is overwhelming. The difference is undeniable. A Stoic man stands out in a world full of impulsive men, and she feels that difference every time. Comparison is not something she chooses. It happens automatically. It happens naturally. It happens the moment she meets someone else. Because when a woman loses a Stoic man, she doesn't just lose a partner. She loses a standard she didn't notice until she met men who couldn't reach it. Everything starts off fine with someone new. The excitement, the novelty, the rush of attention. But excitement is not connection, novelty is not peace. Presence is not maturity. And slowly, painfully, situations arise that reveal the truth. He gets irritated over small things. He raises his voice. He misunderstands her. He takes things personally. He acts impulsively. He lacks emotional control. He doesn't know how to listen. He can't stay calm in conflict. He needs reassurance constantly. There comes a moment when all the illusions she clung to begin to collapse. She believed there was better. She believed excitement meant depth. She believed unpredictability meant chemistry. She believed the grass was greener, but reality is unforgiving. The men she thought were upgrades turn out to be disappointments. The excitement fades. The thrill dies. The inconsistency becomes exhausting. And then she remembers you. The ease, the peace, the safety, the maturity, the calm that didn't need attention to prove itself. She sees now that what she called boring was actually emotional safety. What she called predictable was actually devotion. What she called too calm was actually self-mastery. Illusions fall hard, and when they do, they leave behind something heavy. Regret. Real regret. Not nostalgia. Not loneliness. Not temporary weakness. Regret rooted in truth. Regret rooted in clarity, regret rooted in the understanding that she walked away from something rare for something replaceable. This is where your story separates from hers. Because while she is reflecting, comparing, regretting, and questioning, you are rising. You're building discipline, you're improving yourself, you're mastering your craft, you're growing mentally, emotionally, physically. You're becoming the strongest version of yourself, not to prove anything to her, but because the loss forced you to confront yourself. She expected you to fall apart. She expected you to spiral. She expected you to wait. But instead, you leveled up, and nothing destabilizes her more than seeing a man she doubted become a man she could never replace. Your glow-up becomes her wake-up. Your rise becomes her realization. Your growth becomes the mirror she didn't want to look into. Because now she sees something clearly. You didn't need her to become better. You became better because you chose yourself. Every woman has a breaking point, a moment of brutal clarity when everything becomes undeniable for her. That moment is when she realizes you can live without her. But she cannot live without the version of herself she was when she was with you. She scrolls through pictures of you. She replays old conversations. She wonders why you haven't reached out. She stalks your page. She checks your stories. She waits for your name to appear. But it doesn't, because you moved forward without looking back. And that is when regret turns into something deeper. Loss. Not the loss of attention, not the loss of routine, not the loss of validation, but the loss of the rarest man she ever encountered and never understood. The moment it hits her is quiet. It happens alone, at night, in the shower, on a walk. While holding her phone, hoping for a message that will never come, it hits her in the emptiness you used to fill. It hits her in the silence you mastered. It hits her when she realizes you didn't lose her, she lost you. A Stoic man is unforgettable. Not because he tries to be, not because he makes noise, not because he demands attention, but because he carries qualities that are rare in the modern world. Calm, self-mastery, patience, emotional control, consistency, discipline, self-respect. These qualities do not fade. They leave a mark. They carve a memory. They linger in the mind long after the relationship ends. She remembers your calm in chaos, your steadiness in storms, your clarity in confusion, your silence that said more than other men's promises. And it dawns on her. She didn't walk away from a man. She walked away from a sanctuary. She walked away from a safe place. A grounded presence. A man who brought peace instead of emotional noise. And the weight of that realization doesn't go away. It grows. Because the deeper she explores the world, the more she realizes that the world is full of men. But very few are stoic. Very few are grounded, disciplined, emotionally sovereign. Very few carry the calm you carried effortlessly. And that's when the final truth settles in. Men like you do not come twice. So what now? Here's the Stoic truth you must carry. Her regret is not your responsibility. Your growth is. She may realize everything she lost. She may understand your value. She may see clearly now what she was blind to before. But your path does not revolve around her regrets. Your path is built on discipline, self-respect, and emotional sovereignty. A Stoic man does not chase the past. He builds the future. A Stoic man does not cling to those who leave. He continues forward with purpose. A Stoic man does not lose himself trying to hold on to someone who couldn't hold on to him. So as we end this message, remember this truth. You never lose by choosing self-respect. You only lose by abandoning it. If this message resonated with you, if it brought clarity, strength, or conviction into your life, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on notifications to become a Stoic soldier. You are part of a brotherhood of men who rise in silence, rebuild with discipline, and lead themselves through every storm. Before you go, anchor this truth into your identity. Comment below, "I rise without regret." Thank you for watching. Thank you for your strength. And thank you for choosing the Stoic path.